Does a world even exist where women aren't tired? Well, I'd say right now, not really, but we are figuring it out. And that's why we are all here. Let's get going. It's 5 after, and we're going to jump right in. Here we go. Hello, good morning. Welcome to Wake Her Up Wednesday. I am your host, Marcella Hill. I am the author of Wake Her Up. If you feel like something is missing, it is you. And today we are talking about getting sleep during perimenopause or menopause or just sleep in general, because it matters that you get rested so you can wake up and feel awake and alive to life so that you can be available. Today, we're going to be talking about the supplements that I have found that thousands of women have recommended. Now, the reason why I feel like I can speak to this is because I have a Facebook community of over 40,000 women experiencing all the hormonal changes in perimenopause. And we are sharing our experiences, our stories, and also what is helping us find the solutions we need. And so obviously I can't try all the supplements myself, but after gathering that for over a year, we are seeing a lot of common ground here. We are seeing what's working for women, what's not, and it's time for us to start sharing that. So let's jump in. Okay. First of all, I am not a medical professional, so I will not be diving into the intricacies of why we don't sleep. But let's just be real, right? Think about when we were in puberty. Our brains were going haywire. We were feeling new feelings. We were having new experiences. We were seeing the world in new places. Our bodies were morphing into a whole different thing. That's where we're at. Like, we're in a whole new puberty and our bodies are morphing into this whole new thing. And what we never had to put effort into before, we never had to have this full intention to be able to get sleep. We could just lay down and our body would sleep. And now that's not happening. It's almost not happening for anything, right? Like, we used to be able to just go to the gym, do a little workout and be good. We used to be able to snack whenever we wanted and our body was like, we're good. We know what to do with that. Now it feels like everything takes intention. Everything takes like a whole different approach, a different perspective, and sleep is going to be one of them. Okay. So a couple things we got to do here. One, we need to get real honest with ourselves. That's going to be the hardest. If you came here and you're like, tell me the pill, tell me the thing to take. There are some pills you could take. There are some supplements that are going to drastically help you. But if you are taking a gummy or you are taking some sleep tea and magnesium and progesterone and all the things, and then you're jumping on your phone at 11 o'clock at night and you are scrolling through TikTok until 2 a.m., you're going to have to get real honest about that. Okay. Obviously, you need to put some things in place to be able to put yourself to bed. Okay. And one of the things we're going to talk about, and then we always talk about, is falling in love with yourself enough to care for yourself. If you were going to put your child to sleep, what are some of the things that you do that helps your child fall asleep? I would love to hear what some of those are for you. What are things that help your child sleep? Do you give them a phone and say, here you go, just whenever you fall asleep, just stare at this until you fall asleep, right? No. Do you turn on Netflix and say, okay, well, whenever you just watch this until you fall asleep? No. You turn the lights down. You read them a book. You might listen to, we listen to Babbling Brook. We listen to brown noise. My daughter is 10. She has a really hard time falling asleep. She will take a melatonin, which, by the way, again, not medical professional, but I am learning melatonin is in this hormone world. And it also, I've heard, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard that it helps with, what is that called? It's like a antibacterial, and that's not the right word, but I used to think like I don't want to become dependent on melatonin. And I've heard that taking melatonin daily actually really boosts like your immune system. And it really does help. And it's a nutrient that is so good for your body. So my daughter takes a nightly melatonin. We read and I scratch her arms, right? We do breathing exercises, antimicrobial. Thank you, Jerry. That is bedtime. So what is bedtime for you, right? Like you be your own caregiver. If you think, okay, Marcella, it's now bedtime. It's past bedtime. It's midnight. It's past bedtime. You are tired. How are we going to sleep? Okay, I know we want the fix, right? And we're going to talk about those things. But first of all, let's be real. Before you go buy anything, before you spend any more money on stuff, let's get honest with ourselves, okay? What does bedtime look like for you? It can be anything. You're an adult. You can do bedtime however you want. Remember when you were little and you'd ask your mom for a bubble bath and she was like, nope. Like bubble baths were like this special occasion because your mom didn't want to deal with the freaking bubbles, right? You can take a bubble bath every damn day if you want because you're an adult. If taking bubble baths every night is what you always dreamed of as a small child, give yourself a damn bubble bath, okay? You can use as much magnesium salt in that bubble bath as you want. You can turn on ambient sounds. You can turn on a candle. What does this beautiful bedtime look like for you? Now, I want to hear some of those things that you're talking about. I'm hearing playing video games until 2 a.m. Well, those are things we're going to have to get real honest with ourselves about because if you want sleep and you're allowing yourself to play video games till 2 a.m., if you allowed your child to play video games until 2 a.m., it would be no wonder why they weren't getting enough sleep, right? So sleeping, what does that perfect, beautiful sleep routine look like for you? Start there for so many reasons. Start there because it's showing yourself that you love yourself. It's showing yourself, I care enough about you to sit with you and do bedtime with you, just like you would a child. You are the one that can love yourself the most, the best of all people. You are the one that will put yourself to bed the best way. We're going to talk about all the things you can do. Okay. So let's talk with basics that cost you no money. Okay. Let's do that. One, paying attention to what time it is, right? Like creating some kind of habit for yourself, being like, oh, it's 10 o'clock, it's bedtime, and putting yourself to sleep. Candles, putting the lights down low. I have this beautiful light in my room that casts like this universe on my ceiling. And I have it linked to the Alexa and I can say, Alexa, turn on the universe. And it casts this beautiful universe of color on my ceiling. And that helps me just sit there and I can just meditate and stare at the colors. And it really helps me calm my brain down. Ambient noise, brown noise is something that I've discovered recently that I loving, right? We talk about just like, what's the other one? Not brown noise, white noise. There's white noise. And for whatever reason, white noise is fine, but it was always like too high pitched. Brown noise is like a lower tone. Loving brown noise. I will have it on all night long. Other things you can do. Infrared saunas. Okay, that is costing money, but you can give yourself a bath. You can calm yourself down. Okay, you can turn your phone off. So those are things you can do without any money, without buying anything. Give yourself some love and care. Okay. Now, is that going to fix the problem? Not for everyone, right? Like you can have the perfect bedtime routine. And if your hormones are like, absolutely not, you might still be waking up many, many times. But I will tell you this, no matter what, that bedtime routine, whether it gives you a full night's sleep or not, it will be the start of you having this beautiful, caring, loving relationship with your soul. You will be taking care of you. You will be loving you. And that is what we're really all looking for, to fall in love with yourself. Okay, so let's get into some supplements that me and my audience have been absolutely loving for sleep. Okay, first of all, there is a company called We Are Morphus, or just Morphus. You can go to wearemorphus.com. Also, I have a link in my bio. It says favorite fiber. That will link you to the website, and you can find these supplements. But also, more importantly, instead of going there right now, just make sure that you're getting my emails, and I'm going to send you a list of all the supplements with all the discounts in your email today. So you'll have everything you need. So Morphus makes these beautiful, can you see them? Can you see them? Okay. So this is Sleep Us. And Andrea Donsky is going to be joining us as an expert in our Facebook group and talking about sleep. She is a sleep research expert, and she's going to be joining us, the next Friday. She will be joining us, and they also have this beautiful, I don't know if you can see it, it's magnesium and Sleep Us. Again, I am not a medical professional. I'm not going into the intricacies of all of these, but they are beautiful and they're working, and people are finding a lot of help with Sleep Us and magnesium. So those are two supplements you can take. There's also Sleep by Joy Women's Wellness. I love this. Do you want to know why? Because it's not a freaking pill. This is tea, which I love taking hot tea at night. It's like that moment of like, oh, I can sit and breathe. I'm going to sit here and drink my hot tea. But sleep is amazing for getting yourself to freaking bed, right? But what's fun about this one is it has ashwagandha. It has organic reishi mushrooms. And if you know me, I love everything about mushrooms. So this is a beautiful, amazing supplement, Sleep. It's by Joy Women's Wellness. The other thing, magnesium is a really big deal. And Radiate Wellness supplements, they make this cream called Radiate Calm. I don't know if you can see this, but this is it's a lightweight cream that you would put on your wrist or any like thin skin, like maybe your chest. And this is going to help regulate your hormones, right? And it's going to help you get some sleep. Now, this is magnesium and theanine, which go do your research on those things. Again, we have all the details about supplements and magnesium and all these specifics are going to be with Andrea Donsky next Friday within our Facebook community. I'm just quickly sharing, this is one of the supplements that is helping women calm down and get a full night's sleep. One of the things I love, this is a microdose of Delta-9 THC gummy. Now, Delta-9 is super interesting because that strand is actually legal in over 38 states. So if you are on my email list, you will get a discount code to this brand called Microdose. Again, the Delta-9 strand is legal in over 38 states, and one or two of these gummies, boom, sleep all night long. Now, honestly, I will say, bottom line, most women are finding that progesterone and testosterone seem to be this quick, like, woo, I slept all night. When I was waking up 5 to 6 times a night thinking that was a normal adult thing to do. Anybody else? I think we had one woman say that she woke up 8 times last night. So anybody else? How many times did you wake up last night thinking, this is just normal, thinking I'm an adult, like I'm busy, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a busy mom, I have lots on my brain. Like, raise of hands, how many people thought that waking up in the middle of the night was just a normal adult thing to be doing? I remember when I went in to get my hormones checked, one of the things on the list for for symptoms was sleep. Like, do you have a sleep problem? I did not mark it. I didn't think that I had a sleep problem. I was waking up 5 to 6 times a night thinking that that was normal. And as we sat there, my provider said, you didn't mark sleep. You have all these other symptoms. I have a hard time believing that you're sleeping all night. And I was like, well, I'm not sleeping all night. Like, who does that? Nobody does that. And she was like, how many times do you wake up? And I was like, I don't know, like 5, 6. She's like, that's a sleep problem. I was like, oh, okie dokie. Like, she's like, you should be sleeping all night. Or like, adults sleep all night? Like, I don't even remember the last time I slept all night. And that day she gave me testosterone and progesterone. And 2 nights later, I went to bed, woke up in the morning. I didn't even know that that was a thing. Didn't even know that that was possible. Now, your body is going to continue to fluctuate. Your life is going to continue to fluctuate. This is going to be a balance. You can't, if your hormones kick in and all of a sudden you have this beautiful sleep for a whole month, like every single night, and then all of a sudden there's a week where it's like all wonky and weird, it's not because your hormone therapy just suddenly stopped working. Maybe there's something else you need to look at. Maybe it's time to get a bedtime routine. Maybe you do need a gummy here and there. Maybe you need to add some magnesium. Maybe you need to get off your phone. Maybe you need to do some yoga and some breath work. Like, maybe read before bed. Like, you need to be constantly aware and honest with yourself. I want to say that most women would say, like, I'm an honest person, right? Like, you don't steal, you don't lie. And one of the things that I learned going through the 12-step addiction recovery program is that, yes, I believed that I was an honest person, but the lies I told myself were ridiculous. Like, I was not being honest about taking care of myself. And those are some hard things to dig into, right? We're all here being like, wasn't me. Like, it's not my problem that I'm not getting sleep, but you're staying up on your phone playing games until 2 a.m. It's a hard pill to swallow. I know. I know. Okay. So let's talk about, what would life be like if you weren't tired? Think about waking up this morning and having energy, being excited. What would you do today if you had energy? What would your life look like in general? What would it look like at like 7 p.m. if you were still awake and alive and you weren't counting down the hours to bedtime? How many people count down the hours to bedtime starting at like 3 or 4? Raise a hands. If you're like, oh my gosh, it's only 4 o'clock. Like, we've got what, 5, 6 more hours of day? Like, who else is feeling like that? It's just me? Cool. Okay. But that's the life we're trying to build here. We're trying to build a future that you can believe, that you can be excited about, that you can know that it exists to wake up and not feel dead inside from the first hour of the day. You should be able to wake up and live a whole day feeling present, aware, vibrant, available to life. Have it be 7 p.m. Be like, let's get a game out. Who's popping popcorn? Like, I don't know what that looks like, but my evenings now look like getting Uno out. My evenings now look like it's 7 p.m. and we have a little dance party, right? Like, it looks like running around with the dogs. It looks like even 9, 10 p.m. after I put the kid to bed, going across the street and letting the dogs run. It looks like staying up and reading a book with my husband at 10 p.m. Like, what tiny little things would shift for you if you weren't tired? Maybe you take your kid to the arcade. Maybe you take them to the skating rink And instead of just sitting there tired, you get yourself a ticket card and maybe you skate. Maybe you're not for skating, but maybe you go and you play skee ball and you laugh a little bit more because you're not so damn tired, right? Like, what would life look like if you weren't tired? There is an incredible book, Viktor Frankl. He wrote A Man's Search for Meaning. And in A Man's Search for Meaning, he is a psychologist, and I think he's a psychologist, and he goes into the concentration camp. And on day one, his wife is killed. And he decides that in order for him to survive, he must have hope. And he decides that he is going to need to start dreaming up a life in the future that he never imagined having. What does his future look like now? Because without that, he had no purpose. He had no reason to survive. He had no reason to shift perspective or even try. That is why it's probably more important to talk about what life would look like if you weren't tired than it is the actual supplement. Because if you know that there is a life that exists where you're not tired and that's possible and you can get to that, you will go find whatever the hell you need. Because guess what? It's available. It's there. You can go get it. But if you're just like, I guess this is how everybody's doing it. I guess we're just like, this is life, like 3 p.m. and we're just going to count the hours down. Then you have no reason to go find the help you need anyway. You have no reason to try anything else. But I'm telling you, there is a life available to you almost immediately where you wake up, you feel alive. And by 3 p.m., you're not even looking at the clock. Maybe you start playing the piano again. Maybe you start reading a new book that you hadn't read. Maybe you start gardening this year. Maybe you just walk. Like, you just find yourself going out for a walk at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, what? Where did this come from? Maybe you meet up with a friend for brunch just because you're not so damn tired. What would life be like if you weren't tired? Dream it up. I want everyone that is right here, put something that you would do. It could be tiny. Put something you would do if you weren't tired. Something that's just like, oh my gosh, if I wasn't tired, I would probably actually do that. That is what is going to help you the very most of everything. Okay. Now, I wrote this book called Wake Her Up. And in chapter 3 is called Open Your Eyes, right? And if you're so damn tired walking around, we're just like walking around zombies, like our eyes are barely open. Okay. And I want to tell you a few stories about the power of being able to live with your eyes wide open. This is why sleep is so damn important. This is why it matters that you are rested, so you can live with your eyes wide open. Now, this story can be found in my book, Wake Her Up, and it's available on Audible. And then I go through and tell some of these stories on TikTok. Now, I kind of want to take a vote because there's 3 main stories here. And I'm going to let you guys vote, and then we'll jump back into it. Okay, so I have a story about a neighbor called Grandpa Jack. Okay, I've got a story called Going to Hell, right? Or I have a story called The Mean Girls. Which one do you want? 1, 2, or 3? Grandpa Jack? You guys good? This is like a choose your own adventure situation. You want Grandpa Jack, Mean Girls, or Going to Hell? Vote. You want number 3? Wendy wants Mean Girls. Diana wants Going to Hell. My ladies here in my Facebook group, what do you guys want? Jerry wants Mean Girls. let's just sum it all up. Now you guys are all over the board. I got votes for 3, 2, and 1. And Jerry wants Mean Girls. Okay. Mean Girls is pretty good. And honestly, it's a little bit hard to wrap this story up in like a little TikTok-y thing. So that's probably a great one. Okay, let's talk about Mean Girls. I gotta drink water. Hold on. Okay. This is why it's important to open your eyes. And this is the power of being able to live rested and opening your eyes. Now, these stories in my book are stories of my past. And they're moments that I reflected on and realized that was a moment of awakening. It helped me see who I was by going back and picking out these moments in my life. And this is probably one that all of us can relate to in one way or another. So, okay, Mean Girls. I was in 5th grade and the cool girls were the Angelas, and we were in Girl Scouts together, and we were in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade together. And they were the coolest. They had the cool friends. They did this cool recess routine on the swings to, what's that song? Don't Worry, Be Happy. I was not invited to participate in that. And after school, I would take my sister and we would practice the swing dancey routine so that just in case one day they would invite me to go do that. And one time they invited me for a sleepover. And I thought, oh my gosh, I am part of the cool girls. Let's go. And I go to the sleepover. I'm just like thrilled out of my mind that I am now like part of the cool girl club. And in the morning, there was breakfast. And on a platter, I got served my training bra. Right? We're in what, 5th, 6th grade, which probably didn't even need a bra. But, you know, it's the thing you do. And they had froze it and served it to me for breakfast. And I realized not one of the cool girls, I was the joke. So fast forward a couple months later, you know, got over that, ha ha ha, whatever, tried to play it off. I go to a swimming pool and they happen to be there. And they were being super friendly. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Like, again, maybe we're real friends now. This is going to be great. And we played and played and played and played and played. And this is how I remember it. Played and played and played. We go into the locker room and there's a bra hanging. This is like all about bra jokes. There's a bra hanging like way up. Like someone had thrown it up and it's hanging on one of the, I don't know, like pole, whatever, one of the poles in the locker room. And everyone's laughing. I'm laughing. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing. Ah, right? And we all go into our locker room. So we're getting dressed. And I realize it's mine. And I sat in the locker room and just cried until everybody left. And for probably my whole life, I thought I'm just not one of the cool girls. I always felt like I was on the outside looking in, always wanting to be that. Here's the crazy thing. I wrote this book. I wrote this story inside this book. Now, during the process of writing this, I was connected on Facebook with one of the Angelas, and she messaged me and said, hey, how are you? Like, I'm watching all this cool stuff you're doing. And somehow in that, I said something like, this is super interesting. Like, I didn't think that I was like cool enough for you to think that I didn't think you considered me a friend. Like, I didn't think I was ever that cool. And she wrote back and said, what are you talking about? I always thought you were the coolest. And I was like, wait, what? What? I don't understand. And then I had to start thinking about like, am I remembering this wrong? Is my perspective wrong? Was that her that did it or them that did it? Or was it someone else? And I just like mashed it up into them. was this just me not being aware of what was actually going on? And in that one fell swoop, my eyes like opened and I realized, oh my gosh, had I just been thinking that this whole time that they were the mean girls and I was not cool. And the whole time they were thinking she's pretty cool. And it was just me that was thinking that. Now, my book came out and one of the Angelas didn't know she was in the book. And she was like, hey, I'd love to get one of your books. And I was like, you're in it. Thought the word name Angela was just, pretty generic. So didn't think to change it. So you're going to know it's you. And we get to talking and I told her what the story was. And she was like, I had no idea that was like your perception, your experience. Like I've always loved you. And we got to sharing our lives and connecting again. And it was wild that this whole time I had thought she was a mean girl and that I was the joke. And I'm telling you this because when you open your eyes, when you can live in a world where you can actually see what is going on, you have the energy to look at things and ask, like, is this real? Is this not real? Like, can we look at it different ways? It changes everything. You having sleep, you having rest changes how you interact with the world. It changes your perspective about yourself. I know the Mean Girls story has nothing to do with sleep, but has everything to do with waking up and seeing what is. The only reason I was able to have a new perspective is because I had the energy to write a book. I had the energy to have conversation, energy to dig into trauma of my soul, the energy to ask questions about who I was and dare to see the world in a different perspective. Having rest, having sleep gives you so much more than a good night's sleep. It gives you your life back. Imagine a world where women weren't tired. Just try to put that in your brain. Look at what the women can do with so much. I was at a photo shoot several months ago with entrepreneurs here in Utah. And there's a woman, I wish I knew her name. She's an author. She makes these unbelievable stained glass installations, even like stained glass buildings, like across the world. Stained glass. At Utah Valley University, there's an entire room that is stained glass, and it is breathtaking. She built that. I mean, this woman does unbelievable things. And we got to talking, and she was like, what do you do? I'm like, oh, we talk about perimenopause, and this is my story. This is how I felt, and this is what I found, and now this is what... And she was like, oh my gosh. She's like, seriously, I need whatever you got. I am like a zombie in here. I am a zombie. I am feeling so dead inside. And I'm like, you're in a photo shoot for like this award that she had won. She was speaking publicly. She was doing events. She is an author. She is building freaking buildings. And that is an example of a woman just being a zombie. Oh my gosh. Like, our bodies can endure so much. We can get a shit ton of stuff done that looks incredible and amazing. We can build families. We can run businesses. We can write books. We can do extraordinary things. You deserve to feel it. You deserve to be there for it. I know that I was running a company for many, many years, and I wasn't able to be there with it. I was always surviving. I was always just kind of this zombie working through it. Women are amazing. You can do incredible things. And that's where you think like, oh, well, like, you know, I could do all these things and I'm not sleeping. So like, what's the point? The point is that you get to enjoy it. The point is that you get to be there for it. The point is that it matters that you feel good. It matters that you're not just surviving through this life. And why does that matter? Because if you are going to continue to live your life just surviving, just barely being awake, that will teach everyone around you that that's how we do this. It's going to teach your daughters that that's what that looks like. That is the game. That is the thing. We're all here mostly because our moms did it this way. We're all here because our moms sacrificed their sleep, sacrificed who they are. They sacrificed their dreams and their passions. And so we think that we have to. We think that if we don't sacrifice it, there'll be a slap in our face to our mothers, or that we won't have done it right, or that it will look selfish. It's you getting sleep, you feeling rested, you caring for you, that will change everything. So how are you going to get the sleep tonight? How are you going to do things a little bit differently to care for your sleep, to care for yourself tonight? Now, again, we're going to go back to the beginning. What would your life look like if you weren't tired? What would it look like? What could you do? What would your relationships look like? You could have hard conversations calmly. It is going to lower your stress level, which is going to lower your cortisol level, which is going to help balance your hormones so that your bones don't ache. So you can think more clearly. Sleep would change everything. If all women did was be able to get a full night's sleep, just that would change everything. So instead of running out and buying the next awesome supplement, which I did list many, many supplements that are available that are going to drastically help you get the sleep that you need. And those will be in the email follow-up. So if you need that, you can go to wakeherup.co, pop in your email, and I will send you a link to our blog post and a link to all of the supplements that we talked about here today. But it is you loving you, you caring for you, that is going to make the most drastic change. Because when you do that, let's say you find a supplement that totally works for sleep. Let's say you get on progesterone, you get on testosterone, and all of a sudden you're sleeping, but in a couple of months or a year or 2 years, all of a sudden you're not sleeping again. Because you love yourself, because you're caring for yourself, because you're paying attention to yourself, you're going to be able to adjust. You won't blame the thing or the supplement or the gummy or whatever it is that you're taking. There's like, oh, we're shifting, we're adjusting. Like, what does my body need next? That's the answer. It is you paying attention to you that will always be the answer. Okay, so sleep. I went through supplements. We went through bedtime routines. We went through why does it matter and what could life look like beyond tired, right? So tonight, what is one thing you can do for you to put yourself to bed, right? I didn't even touch on one of my favorites, which is self-pleasure. That is so wild to me that it is not in the category of self-care. It is not in the category of a necessity. Do you know that orgasm dramatically increases your sleep? It dramatically reduces pain in your body. It is the best vitamin supplement you can do for you before you go to bed. I'm telling you, it doesn't even have to be sexual. Just do it as a self-care routine to be able to help you sleep. Yes, it reduces stress. It do you know it helps your skin glow? Like, it's wild to me that in my upbringing, I was taught that self-pleasure was total sin. Absolutely do not do that. Like, wow. And it's a necessity for you to actually feel good, to sleep well, to reduce pain and stress. So if you would like to discuss things like that more, that are more intimate subjects, if you want to talk about things like self-pleasure, sexuality, the power of psychedelics, plant-based medicine, things like that, those intense, intimate conversations I am having in our 2-hour workshops that I'm doing once a month. And you can get access to those for free. If you're a $5 a month Patreon member, you'll have access to those really intimate conversations about some things that are of a more intimate nature. So if you go to link in my bio, you can jump into the Patreon membership and have access to those 2-hour workshops, conversations, but they're going to be along the lines of those intense conversations about those types of things that aren't really available for the public, things that we want to create really safe places for. Okay, I want to wrap this up by telling you that you matter. And that if you would like access to my book, you can go to MarcellaHill.com and you can get a free download for my book. It matters that you feel good. It matters that you feel rested. It matters that you are awake and alive and can participate in your life, not just to be a dinner maker or a errand runner, but to be you. You're probably here because you feel like something's missing. You're probably here because you feel like, how can I get me back? How can I feel like me? How can I wake up and love myself and love my life? I hope you did not come here so that you can figure out how to get through your freaking to-do list a little bit more efficiently. Your to-do list is not who you are. The more check marks you do on your to-do list is not a measurement of your value. If you do anything today, I don't even care. Like, if you just scrap everything I just said about sleep and you don't go and figure out a sleep routine, scrap your to-do list. Just sit and ask yourself, how would I like to be today? How would I like to be? Would you like to be creative? Would you like to be silly? Would you like to be present? Would you like to be available? When you can look at how you would like to be, that's when you realize how important it is that sleep is, how important it is that you feel rested and awake for this. Do not miss your life. Do not miss this. You are the only one of you that has literally ever existed. And I know that we have heard that a million times, but one of the times that you hear it is going to hit you, that it's true. You have never existed and you will never exist again. It is you that exists right now, like this, in this capacity. Do not miss it. You are the thing that you've been looking for. You are the thing that will thrill you beyond anything else. Stop looking out here. Go look in here. It is you that will love you the best. It is you that will put you to bed the best. It is you.